A very good morning, Team Zimbabwe, and welcome to Africa and Beyond Television Network. And this morning, we need to take a look on important matters happening in the nation of Zimbabwe. So, what is on the headlines today is that the Zimbabwean government is clinged on the use of United States dollars as base currency. Few traders are continuing to use United States dollars, but they've been urged to adopt ZiG, which means Zimbabwe gold. And we need to take a look onto this matter seriously because it affects everybody and everyone. When a new currency is introduced, we expect to see the authorities actually putting a policy in place to make sure that everybody is compelled to use such a currency. But according to the Reserve Bank, the current fuel pricing system will remain in place, and the fuel sector is being encouraged to accept ZiG for fuel purchases. And Kudzamtesi says they are not serious about introducing a new currency, and this is a fact. So if you take a look on fuel, you run into millions every month to import fuel into the nation of Zimbabwe. And as a country, if you do not deal with this issue, then there is a problem. Because for me to buy fuel, I will need to go either on black market or into any bank to actually have that fuel, have that US dollars. But let us remember that the governor said in a statement, if you walk into a bank and you demand to have US dollars and you are holding ZiG, they will have to evaluate the reasons why you need those US dollars. Which means if I go and say, okay, I need fuel, you'll be told, where is the registration book? Remote kuda. All those issues might happen. Just imagine kuti even vemshika-shika vanenge vachishanda or anybody who is driving, you'll be told tirate the registration book or authenticate yourself kuti uri kuda mari yefuel, and it doesn't make sense. So what was supposed to happen is that the government was supposed to make sure that this country's currency is accepted worldwide. Once a currency is accepted worldwide, what it means is it becomes legal tender everywhere without any problem. Because anybody who walks into a bank in South Africa will simply deposit the Zimbabwean dollars in a bank in South Africa and will be given rands. That system should apply. If you come from South Africa with your rand, you don't need to think about it. You just need to deposit your rand in that bank. You are given ZiG. You go on and make your purchases. You are coming from England with your pounds, you do the same. You are coming from USA with your US dollar, you do the same. So you would understand that that is the only way this currency will be accepted and will start to work. Then also there is a very important issue. When you want to make payments, you must make sure that you have your bank balances. Those bank balances should simply be converted to other countries. Mari ikatumirwa from other countries ichisvika kuno kuZimbabwe inofanira kusvika yava in ZiG. Mari ikatumirwa from Zimbabwe ichienda kune imwe nyika, for example UAE, inofanira kusvika ichishandisa currency yeikoko. Then if you are sending it to Australia, inofanira kusvika ichishandisa currency yeikoko. To Canada, to South Africa, to Zambia, inofanira kusvika ichishandisa currency yeikoko, but wabhadhara right here in Zimbabwe in ZiG. That is the future that we want. That is what we expect when we are talking about this currency. That is what we want and that is what we expect. But that is not happening because at this moment in time, only Team Rezinara ndovaita a review. They have published charges or vehicle licensing fees in ZiG. That is the only department which I have seen. We are yet to hear from the passport office. We are yet to hear from other departments if ZiG is now being accepted at this moment in time. The major problem at this juncture is that they have not finished the change over, the currency change over, which means you cannot go onto a swipe machine right now and swipe because of the changes which are happening. Those services are not functional. But to other banks, maybe they've finished the move over. But other banks are still processing. And if you go into your Econet line, if you're in Zimbabwe, and try to do transactions, you see kuti others transactions are reflecting ZIG, other transactions on another SIM card are reflecting RTGS one way or the other, which means the system is still coping up with these changes. And what is very important to note is that as long as people cannot use these banking systems or banking halls to access ZIG and to exchange ZIG and US dollars at any point in time for either withdrawals or deposits, then we have a problem. We have a problem. This currency is going to fall. So you see that this is the problem. They say that the current pricing mechanism in fuel sector will remain in place until otherwise reviewed. As the Reserve Bank and government work towards wider use of ZIG, the fuel sector will be encouraged to accept ZIG for fuel purchases. So maybe we can say it's because they still have lower amounts of ZIG, and in the future maybe they will have more. But this is one of the things which I have been saying. Zimbabwe does not need to sell its gold at this point in time. There is no need for Zimbabwe to sell its gold. In my own view, what needs to be done is there is need to deliver gold at the RBZ. Every piece of gold must be delivered at the RBZ. And they must give a guarantee to the person who have delivered that gold. He is given a government guarantee. I don't know for those who did economics, kuti anofananga akafamba sei, but the government must guarantee kuti gold rese radeliverwa kwavari, it's paid in ZIG, to say, okay, you have delivered 100 kgs of gold, you are given mazig equivalent to 100 kgs of gold. Then you start doing your things. That should be allowed to move across the continent. Kuti, if you want to purchase machinery in China, you take mazig yuayo and purchase machinery in China. And the Zimbabwean government will settle that Mario Yoyo Yemazig in real gold. This is the only way I believe prophetically. Somebody told me that to say, if they did do so prophetically, they will solve a lot of issues. But it takes a government which is ready to deal with these issues wholeheartedly. There must be genuine issues around that mechanism for it to work. Don't sell your gold. Don't sell your diamond. Keep your gold, keep your diamond, but settle every payment with gold. Every payment which is made using ZIG, settle it with real gold. That is the only way you are going to deal with these issues. You know, once you start to do those things, you see that you remove one thing from everything which is happening. The intervention of the government is going to be minimal. Once the intervention of the government is minimal, you start to see everything working freely floating without any challenges, without any problems. So I don't see any bank across the world refusing to settle on US dollar terms because US gold on gold terms, because gold does not lose value. So you see that that is a very, very wonderful mechanism, because it will be a gold standard which will be brought back. The United States of America started to use the gold standard in the past, but they abandoned that gold standard and adopted the fiat system. And so many countries are now using the fiat system against the gold standard. And Zimbabwe, at this moment in time, what they have introduced is the gold standard. But it works only when you have sufficient reserves to deal or to support the activities happening in your country or in your economy. So that is very important. So we do not know the other plans of this government, but this government seems not to be serious at all at this moment in time. Because if there are things in the country that it cannot buy, then it's not a currency, it's just another experiment. And it's true. Zigi rinofanira kuti pese pawasvika hatifaniri kutomboshandisa yusa. Kana vaa serious varume ava, we are not going to use US dollars. We are going to make sure that tineta kungoshandisa iro chete. One thing these people should do is to make sure kuti they close every loophole yekubuda kwegold nediamond on illegal points. If they manage to do so, gold rese ngarinde kufidelity. Really, there is where there is a guarantee, a serious guarantee from the government yekuti ukada kutenga chese chawada kutenga, you are buying abroad uchishandisa zig, and the government will settle all those payments ne gold. That is the only way we are going to progress. That is the only way pavanotanga utengesa gold zvinenge zvine musoro. And because this issue which is happening in the nation of Zimbabwe zvekuti the majority of the gold is being smuggled out of Zimbabwe, marichu yachiswa mamonarchy, you will never have a foreign currency in the reserves. You will never have this government working. So the major question is, vaya vanenge vachishanda basa security vari kuita basa rei? Zvikanzi panapa glad you are gravitating towards the truth about this so-called currency. It's a currency being used already. My views or using the currency everywhere have never been a secret except for you and other perpetually in dark folks. Okay, so Kudzai Mutisi has a problem yakuti iye ega ndiye ari right and everybody else is not allowed to praise or to criticize. Okay, so this is what is happening in Zimbabwe. At this moment in time, we are going to look and see if the government of the Republic of Zimbabwe is going to be serious about this. As long as fuel is sold in Zig, then at Satatanga, Tirukutandara. So those are really Zimbabwe. We'll see how everything is going to unfold and how they're going to deal with this issue.